Good morning. Sorry I'm a little late. Technology was not cooperating. Powerless over that, and it's unmanageable. But we're here now. Welcome to Sunday. Let's just take a deep breath to settle in. Today we're going to talk about ordinary life, mindfulness in day-to-day life. Meditation is important, but it is not the thing in itself. Meditation is, among other things, training the mind to help us discover when we are and are not in a mindfulness space, when we're just walking around in our daily lives. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what that looks like after the meditation. I just got a flash on my screen saying my internet connection is unstable, which reminds me, sorry about the way we ended last week. All of a sudden, Zoom just quit, and by the time I got back on, everybody was gone, except for one person. So, nothing I can do about that. It's a live demonstration of impermanence. So, let's find a meditation posture that works. Just something where you are relaxed but alert. It may feel like we're more relaxed if we're like slouching back in our chair, but we're actually not. The body can't sustain that forever. If we're sitting upright, just letting gravity do its thing, our back sort of falls into a natural curve. And your body sort of rests at the base of your spine and your hips. You might want to rock back and forth just a little bit until you find a center and just come to rest there. Rock side to side just a little bit until you come to rest in some sort of center, in a center that works for you. And let's take a few slow, deep breaths. About 3/4 full, just a little slower than usual, breathing deep into your diaphragm. And as you breathe out, just soften and relax your body. A couple more slow, deep breaths, just to help connect to the breath. And as you breathe out, just let your shoulders relax. Let your body relax. And let your breathing return to normal. Continue to be aware of relaxing your body as you exhale. Relaxing the muscles in your face. Letting your eyes just rest in their sockets. Relaxing your jaw. Noticing the in-breath as receiving. And on the out-breath, relaxing. Relaxing your diaphragm, relaxing your stomach, just letting it hang. We spend a lot of time like holding our stomach in, sort of bracing ourselves for the world almost. And as you breathe out, relax the thinking muscle. Let the mind settle. To the degree that you can, let your thoughts, your thinking mind, get quiet. And if you can't do that, that's okay. Just notice. But give your thinking mind permission to take this time and be less busy. And settle the way sediment settles at the bottom of a clear lake. Softly, gently. And let your attention come to your breathing. And just rest your focus and your awareness on the breath. And you can do that any way that works for you and feels comfortable. If it's focusing on the belly or the chest, moving up and down. If it's focusing on the air, moving in and out of your nose. Being aware of the sensations of the body breathing. Aware of the in-breath, your chest expanding, the sensations at the top of the in-breath, the physical sensation of your body transitioning to the out-breath. sensations of the out-breath as your body settles. Noticing the sensations of the end of the exhale. As your diaphragm begins to flex into an inhale, the transition of that moment. And ride the breath, ride the inhale, ride the awareness to the top of the in-breath. And notice the next transition to the out-breath. And just rest your focus and awareness on the sensations of the body breathing, however that works for you. If your mind wanders off in thought, which it inevitably will, because it does that, that's okay. Just notice. You may notice right away. You may not. It's all okay. This is a gentleness practice. Just notice thinking without getting wrapped up in the content or concern of your thoughts, just the phenomenon of thinking. And come back to focusing on your breathing. As often as you need to. Just breathing in and out. And coming back, and coming back. If you've wandered off in thought, if you're thinking, that's okay. Just notice thinking. Start again. Come back to focusing on your breath. Gently, compassionately, coming back into your body. Focusing on your breathing. And as we come to the end of this sitting, just take a moment to notice your current state of mind and body. Maybe nothing has changed from 30 minutes ago. Maybe you're a little more relaxed, a little more centered. Maybe not. Just noticing the ecology of the present moment. And take a moment to visualize the people you may come in contact with today. And visualizing whatever benefit you've received from this sitting practice to flow out of you to them. Not diminishing in any way. It's a sharing. May the benefits of this practice enable us to look out upon the world, upon the people around us, with kindness and compassion and love. May the benefits of this practice radiate from us into our households, into our neighborhoods, into our towns. May the benefits of this practice be a benefit to all beings everywhere. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be safe. May all beings be at ease and at peace. Thank you for your practice. I sit in meditation every day, and my mind wanders off. Of course it does. It likes to do that. It's the function of the mind to do that. And it wanders into various places, into the greatest hits of the 1970s from when I worked in radio to whatever conversation I think I'm going to have tomorrow, to did I remember to feed the cat, and I come back. And that's the practice. The manual labor of meditation. Keep, as they say in 12-step groups, keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. But how do I bring that out to the world? How do I continue that practice? And what brings this to mind, Kevin Griffin, who was my mentor in the meditation teacher training, teaches and writes about the intersection of the Dharma and the 12 steps. And I was in a Dharma talk with him. I was attending a Dharma talk with him online the other day. And he referenced, I'm going to mutilate the name, is Culagosinga, Culagosinga Sutta. In the middle length discourses is number 31. And in this sutra, Buddha is wandering. He's wandered away from his Sangha, where there was some conflict and it got out of hand, and he just decided to walk off for some period of time. And he comes upon 3 monks who have a little Sangha of their own. They're meditating. And they seem to be doing okay. And he starts to ask them about their practice. How is your practice going? How is your little community going? How are you getting along with each other? And I love the language of this. Are you living with mutual appreciation without disputing, blending like milk and water, viewing each other with kindly eyes? And one of the monks speaks up and says, yes, we are. And Buddha says, how are you doing that? And the first thing he talks about is being aware of the needs of the other people around him and meeting them with a combination of kindness, compassion, and service. And then Buddha continues to inquire how their practice is going. And then the next place the monk goes after that is into just the daily flotsam and jetsam of running a little monastery practice space. He talks about setting out the drinking water and washing the refuse buckets and putting them in place, and putting away the leftover food and doing the dishes. Just the day-to-day tasks of living in this space. And then Buddha makes a really interesting transition. He goes from there to asking about whether or not they are experiencing higher meditative states and how their meditation practice and their mindfulness practice is evolving in these higher states. And at first it seems like kind of a confusing transition, but it's not really. Because where I went with that, I was on retreat a couple of weeks ago. And when I'm on retreat, I like to work in the kitchen. And I was having this experience. I had to pit essentially a quart or a quart and a half of Kalamata olives. For those of you who are on the retreat, I hope you enjoyed the puttanesca. You can thank me later. So I'm having this experience, and at first I'm like, but then I start to relax into it. And the kitchen manager says, I can do that myself later. And I said, well, you've heard one breath at a time. This is one olive at a time. And I started to get really, really settled and really, really focused on the olives, of all things, and feeling like there's nothing in the universe, nothing that I have to deal with, nothing outside of me and pitting these olives. And I was so into my moment-to-moment awareness of just me and the olives. Now, it doesn't hurt that by now we'd been on retreat for like 3 days and I was meditating several hours a day. But I began to contemplate, how do we bring this to our daily existence? And in contemplating this and what I was going to say about this today, I came upon an article in Tricycle by Bernie Glassman where he talks about Dogen, the great Zen patriarch, and Dogen used to like to work in the kitchen and used that as sort of a metaphor for practicing in day-to-day life. And he wrote, the Zen cook follows the middle way. We have faith that the soup is coming along, but we still check it now and then. And this is kind of a metaphor for practice. We have faith that we're okay, that we're going to be okay, but we stop and we pause and we check in with ourselves for 20 minutes, 30 minutes every day, or however often you practice, just to see how the soup is coming along. And then we open our eyes and we can look around and we take the materials we have at hand right in front of us and prepare the best meal possible. We work with what we have moment to moment. And that's sort of what we're doing while we're in sitting meditation. But how do we do this walking around? That's a challenge. We've got all these things coming at us. There's the billboards, and there's the traffic, and there's the noise, and there's the meeting we're on our way to, and the job that we didn't finish that we have to get done before the end of the day, and whatever. It feels impossible, which is why they call this a practice. We practice. There's a scene, I think it's in The Miracle of Mindfulness, Thich Nhat Hanh's book, where they have somebody over for dinner, and his friend offers to do the dishes, and Thay says, well, if you want to do the dishes to get the dishes clean, I prefer that you didn't. But if you want to do the dishes to do the dishes, one dish at a time, go ahead and go for it. So we can take our experience as mindfulness practitioners, as meditators, and practice moment to moment. And the trick is, of course, remembering to do it. And the more we practice meditation, the more we're training our minds to notice, to relate to the moment-to-moment experiences that we're having. And my guess is that, most of us are on autopilot much of the time. We don't notice that we're breathing. We don't notice how our feet feel in our shoes, unless it's uncomfortable, which is another example of dukkha leading to awakening. We don't notice the feeling of the heel of our hand when we press on the soap dispenser in the restroom. But these are moments of awakening. And we can remind ourselves throughout the day to just pause and notice. We may accomplish this like once, twice throughout the day. But there's a lot of power in just setting an intention. And I'm not really naive enough to believe that we can walk around in mindful space all the time. The people who accomplish that show up every 500, 2,000 years, and we start religions around them. People like Buddha or Jesus or Zoroaster. But we can set an intention to notice these moments, like how my feet feel on the floor right now. My hand touching the doorknob when I leave the room. And Bernie wrote in that article, our body is an ingredient. All our relationships are ingredients. Our thoughts, our emotions, all of our actions are ingredients for awakening. The things we don't notice, but we can pause to notice. Where we live. What's it like in this room right now? The cobweb in the corner I hadn't noticed before, and then my narrative is that goes along with that. The ring around the moon, the sounds in the supermarket. Unless it's a baby crying 4 feet away, we always seem to notice that. The noise of traffic and the people on the street corner. We can pause and just take it in and notice what happens when we do that. It's sort of like sitting meditation, which is what we practice. We wander off, we come back. We wander off, we come back. We can do that when we're walking across the street. Don't close your eyes while you're walking across the street. We can do that while we're driving. Also, don't close your eyes. When we notice that we're elsewhere, maybe in the meeting we have later, or we're thinking about changing the cat food. The cat will never forgive you, by the way. The dog will just wag his tail and be grateful. Choosing individual moments. I'm walking up a hill. I'm scratching my face right now. What does that feel like? I have an itch right here. What is the narrative that's going along with this? Oh, the Sangha is noticing me being distracted. Oh no, not that. Right? Just noticing all of that. I'm walking up a hill. I'm feeling a little winded walking up the hill. So I can notice the sensations of that. Okay, I'm feeling like a little tightness right here, and I'm aware of my heart racing. And then I can take a second and notice the narrative that goes along with that, because there's always a narrative playing along with it. Oh man, I need to get in better shape, or it'll be great to get up to the top of the hill. And then notice the narrative that I attach to noticing. I'm having a moment of anxiety. I can take a moment and pause and notice that. My first thing I notice is, I don't want it. I don't like this. And then there's a narrative that goes along with that. Some version of, this isn't okay with me, and I'm not okay. And then there's more narrative that goes along with that. I just notice whatever my experience is and the physicality of my feelings in the moment. And one of the things that Bernie wrote was, in order to see the ingredients we already have, we just need to clear a space. And that's what we're doing in sitting practice every day. We're training our minds to clear a space so that when we're walking around, we can do so a little more fluidly. When we're feeling stressed out, we can pause and notice what that's like without attachment or aversion. Dogen, very interesting guy, Dogen. We practice to recognize that everything we do is in part an enlightened state. We just don't notice it because we're like wrapped up in our whatever. So, I'm going to offer a challenge. Practice. Pause. One way to do this, in the monasteries, they have a mindfulness bell. At random intervals, a bell rings, which is your cue to notice that you've wandered off somewhere and come back. You might want to set a timer on your phone just to go ding at 2:30. And notice where you are. Look up from the papers on your desk. Notice that you're in traffic. Just notice and check in with your physical and narrative experience of that. Mindfulness, moment to moment, taking this out into the outside world. So, it's been said, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. when I was in grad school, I took a course on a survey of spiritual traditions. We looked at Christianity, Hindu, Buddhism, Judaism, blah, 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 shamanism. And we went up to a Zen retreat center in the Santa Cruz foothills in California and met with one of the monks there. And he was talking about practice and meditation and so forth. And he said, in the end, excuse me, in the end, it's just day-to-day life. In the end, it's just day-to-day life. And Jeannie Dupro, who I've referenced several times in her book, The Earth House, talks very eloquently about all of the directions in which her mind is going. And she says, when she notices, she pauses and wakes up, like, and she writes, like coming out of a drugged slumber. And she says, hold still, stay here, turn on the lights, get dinner ready. So just do the normal stuff, but do it awake. And try to remember there's nothing to fear in this moment, and this is the only moment. Just the normal day-to-dayness of walking around, practicing being awake in individual moments to the degree that we can. So, thank you. I want to mention that I'm starting another sitting on Wednesday nights at 6:30 at this same Zoom address. Also, I'll be doing the Dharma talk at the Villa Vipassana tomorrow night. Any questions or comments about anything that I said today, or how your practice is going, or anything? Joan, have I seen you here before?
No, hi Ken. I'm Joan. Yeah, I lived in Louisville, Kentucky, and I've been on an insight group, meditation group on Facebook, and that's how I learned about you, and that's how I came to be here today.
Oh, welcome. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
I have a group on Facebook, Insight Meditation Group. Feel free to join. I post these talks there every week and various other things. I'm going to post a link to the tricycle article I was referencing. And there's a really cool website called Sutra Central, Sutta, S-U-T-T-A. So I'll post a link to the Sutta I was referencing also. Okay. I invite you to have a peaceful and serene day. I invite you to pause and notice the moments. Thank you.